just have so much value on the Ziggs. And you can see why after what Archony did on it. They're just saying, if we can't have it, you can't have it either.
I feel like this happens with teams all the time though. Like the champion that helped them win the game the most, the champion that they feel like they play the best, they're suddenly afraid of it because they know how good they are with it.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, just pick it.
The
just
mind
pick it
game,
yourself.
yeah.
It's fine. They're mind gaming themselves. They're mind gaming themselves. It's like, just pick the dang Ziggs.
What do you think about the Vi pick though, D2? You mentioned you have strong feelings about Vi. I like to call it the, sometimes there are teams that win with the Vi. It's like the arcane buff coming in.
We might have a graphic later on just describing how poorly Vi has played, but this is going to be a slow burn, okay? I'm just going to let the audience just kind of let the Vi hate simmer with me. Right? We're not just going to go right hard into the beginning. We're just going to, lay the foundation, just throwing it out there. Vi not winning all that much. I'll let the audience know that, and we'll revisit it later.
Well, I do agree, right? I don't think Vi is the best champion, but I think One Team's draft actually looks really good here. They have a super good dive composition. They have really good long-range engage. The Camille ultimate, the Vi ultimate, Chains of Corruption, and if Diana finds an angle onto the back line, Archony and Kidamon on Ori and Kai'Sa won't really find angles to escape, being so short-ranged. I do also like the flex from the start of BRU. The Jarvan matchup into the Camille is going to be a relatively safe one. You can poke him out from a distance. He can't proc his passive shield on you, so it really hurts his trading patterns a lot. And flexing into the Xin to really just get some control in the mid jungle with a weak mid laner in the form of Orianna, you really pressure this Diana. Because when we talk about how Diana wins trades, how she counterpicks, she needs to dash on you. Now try dashing on someone when they've got a Xin Zhao waiting in the wings. It really just leaves you with so limited options.
Yeah, I do like the way that I do like the way that One Team has drafted this, because we talked about how BURIRAM and One like to play macro, but One is like, okay, we're actually the more aggressive team here, so let's get on top of them. Gonna be difficult against the Galio, Xinjiao, and Jarvan 4, but we'll see if they make it work.
Yeah, we are gonna see indeed if One Team can pull through, or if BURIRAM United Esports will make this a 2-0. Game number 2 coming at you, casters. You guys are up.
Thank you much to the analyst desk there. And yes, indeed, here we go for game number 2 after what was the longest game of group stages so far, and maybe the most exciting game of the SEA Champs as a whole. That's obviously up for debate, but I'm very excited to see what we get in store as we run things back here, TJ, for game number 2.
We had yesterday, Skimmy. I don't know.
Look, I'm going to set the bar. We're heading on Group of A. We're setting, Group of Life, maybe a little bit boring. B certainly, did deliver in that regard, but hey, come on. Game 1 there.
No, that last game was very good, I'll give you that. But if anyone was like watching that last game, and it's maybe the first game of SEA Champs, watch all of today, then watch all of yesterday as well. That's like 14 hours of Wild Rift. You'll have a great time.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you'll be glued to your screen for a whole bunch of time. Maybe you'll need to hit the 2-time switch, but hey, there's content there to certainly be enjoyed.
This is a fun fact, Skimmy. I actually speak so slowly that if you put me on 2 times speed, I just sound normal.
You sound like me at 2 times? Maybe?
I look like you at 2 times speed. This game, as they hit on the desk, it feels like One Team have dialed up their early game presence. They looked at what happened to them last game, where they got shut out of the first 10 minutes of gameplay, and said, hey, that really kind of doomed us despite us otherwise playing a good game. So that means a couple of things. I think it kind of paradoxically means we'll have a quieter early game, because BURIRAM don't have anywhere to gank during these first couple of minutes. One Team do have a little bit more presence from Xianyou early. And you're also going to see some scrappier dragon fights, which will be very important for One Team after the experience they had last game.
Speaking of scrappy fights, nice hook shot away there from Kids. Beautifully executed.
She's just gonna,
I don't know. You broke up. I didn't even hear you speak.
It's Camille, just living her life.
Yeah, I mean, sure. But you know what? It looks nice. Bit of a skateboard trick off the wall.
Sick grind, bro.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
BURIRAM group now, that's very important for them to get that bottom scuttle, because as you saw last game, they are one of many teams that like that dragon win condition. That scuttlegram down bottom gives them vision. I want to flag what they're doing into team fights as One Team do pass towards this top lane. I don't think I'll have time. Here we go.
Simon's on the hunt, but actually double backs on that one. Now Noel left in a 1v3. You can burn the flash. No chance to use the barrier. And there was no chance for a trade there as one team are topped up and healthy. A wave to crash on in. And now a big injection of resources going the way of Kid.
I want to flag Noel, who I do think was the hero of the last game, and his flash there is actually really smart. Firstly, of course, it did dodge the Camille hook shot very aggressively. He flashed out of range of the bounce off the wall. And then the other thing he did was he was flashing into the minions, because the only way he survives that gank is if he gets enough time to clear all those minions. So, very hands-up play. Didn't work for him, but good call from Noel. And it does give a little bit more gold over to one team. Their win conditions in these team fights are very simple. They have a dive front line. That dive front line needs to get onto this Orianna and Kai'Sa, and they need to do that with the Diana by Camille, whilst Ninja 7 is safe behind Shu, throwing out damage from the very back of the fight as fans.
And there's certain similarities to this composition from one team from game 1 into 2. I mean, it really does feel like we're running things back, trade out the Riven, have the Camille, potentially a better split pusher in that regard. Diana, obviously, one of those champions that can pump out damage, but very different compared to the Corki, but certainly is going to give them that injection of aggression that we so sorely missed. So as you say, go for those dragons and not feel so threatened to say the only option is to backdoor.
Shu and Zhanyo.
Kill, aren't they? On supporter, all in on the CC. Double ultimates dropped, and a kill found.
It was worth
Put it out of the equation. I mean, the
there.
timing could not be better, right? Yeah, the water's there. They found the vision, and they've now found themselves the first Drake of this second match.
And that's going to be pretty easy for one team. BURIRAM and supporter specifically, you have to be very cautious about that specific tri-bush. A lot of people think of it as like, oh, this is safe. But in a versus a coordinated team, there's almost always going to be a ward there. So supporter, frankly, a little bit careless there. Should have waited a little bit more. Just a couple of seconds would have had the team.
Better name, and he shall deliver. Flash taunt, lock it in place. One, and you can't protect him. The lantern not enough. Ninja 7 falls down despite burning everything he had to offer.
A little bit disappointing, I'm sure, but BURIRAM execute that play very well. One team's mistake isn't in the fight itself, but pushing down mid. As they get punished for it, now it's a scrap over this Rift Herald.
Yes,
the fight up in the top lane.
Area. There is a fight. Noel is down to 10%, so he has to reset. This team will decide that's not the play we're after.
Oh!
Kid's just taunting them.
He almost got the kill onto Noel twice, and he didn't do the leg sweep in time. Didn't do it the first time. A little awkward. But it does mean that Noel has to back, and that should mean that one team can get this Rift Herald. We'll see what Shiba does about it. Nothing.
Nothing. And I suppose now one team are quite content with how this early game's played out. They've got that kill towards Noel. They're finding that individual 1v1 strength, as we are seeing time and time again. And the extent now that they've actually lost the ability to claim that Herald when they were the first ones to deploy there and give one team all the early game answers for the first 5 minutes.
A little bit disappointing, I'm sure, for BURIRAM, as they came off of game number 1 where they dominated the early game. One team clearly draft in response to that, get themselves the tools to succeed during the early game, and then execute on it. BURIRAM are waiting for a mid-game where Archony does damage. That's the biggest item spike you're looking for. He did just get Ludens, so this is possible now. They can look for team fights, and that's why you're seeing this aggression. Because now that their Kai'Sa's coming online, probably does have the Q evolve now with the Executioner's Calling build. So the Akathian Rain is doing massive damage, and they're going to try and force fights now.
Certainly are, and that is big. They had called out Zhanyo in just a second before, but this Lantern's Q is impressed me so far, but up towards the top side again. It doesn't get much easier here for Noel. Locked in place by the Hextech Ultimatum. Hits the Cataclysm! He's done it! Noel! He's actually won the fight! Disrespected, and he shows those mechanics again, TJ. You praised him before, and we'll praise him again. And just like that, BURIRAM finding the courage to fight. They do it down bot side, and that's a 7-minute ace.
It's a solo kill in mid, it's a solo kill in top lane, and 3 kills picked up at the bot side. And BURIRAM ace one team coming into their mid-game form. The power spike comes online. Noel outfights a crazy aggressive kid up top, and it all lands up So now BURIRAM having the gold lead by 2,000. As this next Drake is coming up, they're going to get a free reset. Look at all those item completions coming in. Kinemon particularly just rolling in it, completing the Blade of the Rune King there. You're most of the way to Deadman's Plate. You complete Noel's first item, Trinity Force on Sheba. They can fight now. They're going to fight now.
And that was your key words, and that's what we're seeing. I mean, this is what we missed really to start off, fight down bot, where they say, we're going to take that 3v3. We are going to fight that fight. We've got the belief, and well, the execution and the target selection is just phenomenal.
Yeah, really well played by Supporter, separating a lot of the damage. And he's done this twice. We saw that mid lane gank as well, where he did the same thing. And one team just get a little complacent for a team that's normally got such good reads on the game. They frankly should have understood that they're going to the mid game where BURIRAM are going to spike and are going to start looking for brawls.
Not done just yet though. Look for John Yo, forced to dish away, and the Trend of Corruption will buy a little bit of time. But can one team answer back? Because it looks like the Vi's gone. It certainly is. Can they find that trade back? They're split apart. The piercing arrow is all they will retaliate back with. And another good timing here found for one of these teams, as it coincides with the second Drake spawning.
Second Drake coming online, and BURIRAM get it off of those 2 kills. And it's hard for one team to actually bring this game back now. What are you waiting on? How can they turn this round? Well, most of their hopes, frankly, rest on the mid lane. Eye on the Diana is scaling towards Rabadon's. Once she gets Rabadon's death cap, the Diana's going to do so much damage. That's kind of the only thing they have going for them, because, like, Noel loses this top lane fight every single time.
And that's what makes it even crazier, the fact that Kid does not find that kill. He had everything going his way, and all he needed to do was laugh, and the J4 would have fallen on down. But as the Hexagold Mania expires, he's locked underneath that turret, and those mechanics that you praised before, Noel coming in clutch. That was a big gold swing. I mean, before that play even happened, before that 7-minute ace, one team actually held a 2K gold lead. Big swing, big cash injection, and BURIRAM are now running with it.
I want to flag what I was talking about just now when I was like, oh, Noel wins this fight versus Kid every time. Kid actually has a 2,000 gold lead still over Noel, though that may be shrinking as more turrets fall. But Noel has so much HP. You can see it here, that he can just step up and fight, and he's always going to be able to kite. He's always going to be able to survive for long enough that one of his teammates come in, that he's going to get an unfair fight versus Kid. That's how he won up top, remember? He kited Kid all the way back. And that's what Noel, that's what Jarvan brings to a late game for a team like BURIRAM. It's just a de facto tank who can take kind of any amount of damage while split pushing, while doing damage.
He's absorbing the pressure. Real good sponge in this game. And it is allowing BURIRAM to unlock the map, as they did so successfully in game number 1. Yes, they have swapped the sides. Yes, there is no Ziggs this time, but the same outcome seems to be quite present here, because they are taking fights, they are being aggressive, they're not scared of anybody. The vision is there, and they're contesting anything that presents itself, except maybe that blue buff.
Yeah, that blue buff will be stolen away by one team. This next fight will very likely be over the Baron. If I'm BURIRAM, I start looking to fight it right about now.
Well, your wish is their command. They go on in. The bait is the Vi, but he just does disengage away. Out goes the hero's entrance, knocks them up. Stopwatch here from Fire, looking for the Moonfall. Already been burnt, and they've already found that key kill. Mid and jungle gone. The core crux of BURIRAM's success has been removed. That could not come at a worse time. Down 20 seconds. The Baron is there. But the side lanes, they need to be addressed.
Yeah, one team can't take the Baron. They do not have the speed on it because they're running Varus, who just does not kill Baron quickly. Uh-oh, Supporter in.
Supporter once more, though. He's done his play before in the mid lane. Bit of deja vu as the flash taunt goes out, but the TP in front, as you call, comes on through. Numbers influx does now favor here. One team, Noel jumps away. The flag drag and the flash. He thought he'd done enough. He thought he had done enough, but he will fall on down. 4 members of one. Stand true, stand strong, and showcase. Just let us reset.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to take away from one team's success there, because BURIRAM just take a god-awful fight. The initial fight around the Baron is essentially a 2v5 because of the way they engage it, and it's right when all of one team come back from base. So when I was saying that BURIRAM are going to start looking for a fight, it was because they had a really good timing right now. They had a lot of control of the map. But they also had a whole bunch of gold in their pockets that they hadn't spent. So one team go back to base, buy new items. Even though BURIRAM have a pretty massive lead on the map, they didn't actually have a massive lead in terms of just raw items and damage stats when that fight started, which meant that one team were able to fight them on pretty even standards and shrink this gold lead down to just 2,000. This is anyone's game.
It certainly is. Let's get a bit of gauge now as to how close this game really is. Next fight with the items check, they find that first kill. DU removed, no fresh to play. Bayer caught on the flank, wants to go for the moonfall, can't be used. Separated from the pack, and you've got to channel that moonfall for maximum effectiveness, and BRU shut it down.
Yeah, Bayer just doesn't know what to do there. He's caught out. It's such a strange angle, and the attempt by Shu to save him just absolutely dooms one team, because at that point they have nobody who can contest. I would like to give accolades to one team, though, for not over-investing. They see that go wrong. They go, okay, we're going to throw an arrow in here. We're going to see if we can steal away the dragon. We're not going to commit to this too hard. So Shu's caught out here. Bayer roams up. Bayer's like, oh, I can fight this. Shu paths towards him, because that's the only way that two of them get out of this fight, is if they can build a space at the bottom side of the river. But BURIRAM spot that angle, go, hang on, we can separate from this being a 5v5 into this being a 5v2 if we just collapse downriver. They do exactly that, find the kill, easy as pie. They get themselves their second dragon of the game.
It just feels like Bayer was on two separate minds with the rest of his team, saying, I'm seeing the angle, let's collapse, let's run into that river. But the rest of the team saying, we're not too keen. We've just seen that fresh fall on down for free. I'm not too excited by it. And yeah, I mean, it's easy as you like. An easy turn to say, well, we'll just take that 1v5.
If Bayer finds the angle and starts the fight with a big moonfall, one team realistically probably win it. I'm going to hold this thought because Kid might be in trouble with this aggression. One team are deciding whether or not, or BURIRAM are deciding whether or not to collapse on him, while the rest of one team are on the top side of the map. If BURIRAM see that, they don't. BURIRAM do not know where the rest of one team are, so they don't collapse down bottom.
No vision around this Baron right now, which is where the majority of one team are hanging out. They're controlling the mid-wave. They have to answer to the top side, and that's what Bayer is doing now. But another game with only a single teleport enchant. It's that man again in Kids. Will we have the same script again of them trading out these objectives to go for inhibs? I see a fight breaking down bot side as Noel's already dropped down to 50%, so that's becoming harder and harder to sustain. The Ignite is utilized, the all-in with the flash too. The turret seems to be the focus. Now BRU are trying to take firm control of the Baron themselves.
Yeah, I mean, you have teleport Camille. This is the right way to use it. Keep Kid pressuring this side lane and force one team to, or force BURIRAM, sorry, to leave Noel down here, meaning that they don't have that added tank, that really useful Jarvan utility in this team fight. But the flip side of it is that with much less gold in his pocket, Noel is absorbing so much of this pressure. He's really keeping one team's biggest damage dealer at this point, Kid, completely nullified in the game state by fighting him down bottom. So I don't actually know who that bot lane fight is favoring. I don't actually know who's getting away with murder there, and it depends entirely on how the 4v4 on the opposite side of the map goes and whether or not Kid could join this fight. Here he comes, teleport.
He is coming on through with that teleport right now. Bayer look to be caught, but then comes out of that stasis with a moonfall. Is the first one to fall on down as
That's
flashes
big.
And multiple summoners are committed. There's the chain of corruption. Wait for the shockwave. It could be huge right now. Ball is held in a neutral state. The killing spree comes out there as Kid finds that kill with his ultimate, still topped up and healthy. The lantern away, the cataclysm is there.
Lantern.
Wait for the taunt, a two-man taunt, the biggest flag and drag. There could be the follow-up, but it is Kid that gets a double, sustaining through thick and thin. Death Stance and Blade of the Rune King. It's just not enough as Archnie gets a quad.
And that you have these two damage dealers trying to survive this fight, Archnie and Bayer. And Bayer dies in the first 10 seconds, Skimmy, and Archnie's just thriving. One death a game so far in the tournament, and it's going to keep getting better as he sits at the back of the team fight, throws out damage, growing that KDA, currently sitting around 10 KDA. That's why he gets a quadra kill there, just sitting behind the line of skirmish, throwing out orbs. Watch this. So Bayer's caught out. That's the go signal for BURIRAM. And full engage, full collapse, gotta kill Bayer. He's the major damage threat. And then check out Kinemon. check out him as the damage dealer versus Archony as the damage dealer. Archony's never going to put himself in harm's way in the way that Kinemon just does. Kinemon's stepping up. That's not Archony's role in this team. His role is just to sit here at the back of the team fight, keep playing Orianna.
And to good effect too, as they come out ahead with a significant lead. They've got the Baron. They're playing for the Infernal Elder. Have you seen a better option for them to claim? It's down to 50%. One team are trying to find the angle to get inside that pit. They have no vision, and Noel's had enough. He's jumped over the Cataclysm. There's the Hero's Entrance to follow things up. Just like that, 2 key members gone. The jungler and the support. No smite, no contest, no lantern, no free flash. The pack have been broken apart. One team have no fortifications. They have no protection to them. And Ninja 7 may just die. And a single flag and drag on a spike and answer back, which he can't. And they're losing the steam. BRU are steamrolling them.
Did you see that? He just did all that damage with his cape. He just walked at him and the AoE burn killed him. And yeah, BURIRAM locked down the late game, this time much more comfortably. They've got themselves the Elder for the second time in 2 games, and they're about to 2-0 one team.
This felt like their game for first place. BURIRAM undefeated so far. One team with a win and 2 draws. This will be their first loss, and it's felt like the decider. But one team have been upset.